Yo, what is going on, guys? We're having a fantastic day today. So I want to go over some news for the Philadelphia Eagles, a few things that come to my attention. Trying to split these videos up a little bit into little sections here and there to talk about, we haven't even really hit the surface on what we're even doing yet. We've restructured Kelsey and freed up a little bit of money, and that's really it. Still need to hire two coordinators. Still need to see who we're re-signing and what's going on with the Jalen Hurts contract negotiations and all that type of stuff. So we'll talk about some contracts. We'll talk about a couple players and a coach in mind as well, because there were some things that came up the other day, which it was kind of interesting, but it could be, all rumors at the end of the day. So like I said, whatever is said, you always want to take everything with a grain of salt. It is the off season, smoke and mirrors. Like that's, there's a lot of smoke wherever you go in the off season. So you can't believe everything, but it's nice just to talk about it and kind of get us excited for this offseason a little bit. Do I think the Eagles are going to have a monster offseason like they had last year? No. I'm just saying because of the big signings and the moves. I don't think you're really doing any big signings this year besides signing your own quarterback and obviously re-signing some players to lock players up. But I don't think they're, going out and making some big trade for multiple first-round picks, like to make it sound like that. So let's get straight into all the news. So first on the list for the Eagles right now, news-wise, which actually the last video I actually uploaded, this news actually came out, and I was like, wow, this is kind of crazy. It looks like Jonathan Gannon is taking coaches away from us. It looks like Nick Rallis, the linebacker coach, is going to be Jonathan Gannon's defensive coordinator. Now, there was rumors with Jonathan Gannon with the Cardinals that he's not calling the defensive plays, that Nick Rallis is going to call them, but obviously it's going to be a collaborative effort, and I don't even know why I'm even saying this. I shouldn't even care, but I'm just letting you know that he's looking for a guy that he can get along with. And I think because he's sharing play calling or sharing or giving maybe someone else some power of the play calling for that defense in Arizona, Nick Rallis leaves, and they were really good friends, really good buddies from what I heard. And it's a big, it's a big hit to our linebacker group. I want to see what Nakobe Dean has learned this past year under him, being a sponge in the meeting sessions all year. Definitely a lot to, it's going to be interesting what they do. It's going to be interesting what the Eagles do. And, the Eagles are going to lose players because of this. This is what happens. I'm waiting for Steichen to take players or take, coaches away. Who knows at this point what's going to happen. But realistically, with Nick Rallis leaving, it keeps an open spot. And the Eagles need to find another coach for that spot. So it should be, we'll find out in the coming weeks. I mean, it shouldn't, within the next couple weeks at the most, because you got to find not only your two coordinators, now you got to find a QB coach if Brian Johnson moves up, and then you got to find, obviously, the linebacker coach of the, for the next few years, couple years, whatever the case may be with that. So that was Gannon's guy, and he is in Arizona now, so the Eagles lose out on the linebacker coach. Secondly, this is an interesting one as well. There is some news out that Glenn Schumann, defensive coordinator for the Georgia Bulldogs, is the Eagles' defensive coordinator already. And why do I say this? Because for some reason on Wikipedia it says that Glenn Schumann is the defensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles. And yes, guys, I tested it, and if you type in his name in Google, do it, and you'll see that it says that he's the Eagles defensive coordinator. This could be a stupid glitch. This could be someone just messing with us. I don't know what it is, which is kind of crazy. I mean, there was already rumors that, and I really don't follow college football when it comes to all the coaching news and like who's going where, but I found that it looks like Nick Saban from Alabama, the head coach there, is looking for a defensive coordinator, and it looks like Glenn Schumann is going to be the runner-up for the next runner-up for the defensive coordinator job for Alabama. So that's the rumors that have come out so far. And yes, like I tried to upload the live test of me actually typing it and then showing it actually says it. But yeah, it actually did. But my computer wouldn't take the video. I don't know why. But it says that he is the Eagles defensive coordinator. I don't know why. Would the Eagles actually go outside of the NFL to go get a college coach? I mean, look, some teams are going to have to do this. Coaches get old when they go from place to place to place. Coaches get older and older and older and older over the years. There are going to be some times where coaches are going to, and this isn't a bad thing, but I'd be kind of shocked if they did this. But at the same time, like, you know, you have a guy that's been pretty aggressive with that Georgia Bulldog defense, and with Nakobe Dean and Jordan Davis already here, already playing for that team, is pretty cool. But how true is this? Like I said, take all this with a grain of salt. There's smoke everywhere you turn, and can't even tell what's the truth and what's not, what's rumors, what's not, what's official and what's not. So, like I said, the Eagles haven't even, I mean, you know, they haven't really done much. They've had a couple interviews for defensive coordinator, nothing crazy. Definitely a lot of interest. But this one is just, I don't see them going outside the organization right now. I really don't. With the roster they're going to have next year, especially defensively when they start re-signing some guys and getting some guys on this team, especially in the draft too, you really can't afford to bring in a brand new guy. And I understand, you know, he was, you're getting a guy from college that's been a defensive coordinator, but at the same time, you want some NFL experience with somebody as of right now. So it's really up to them what they might do. So if they actually did this, I'd be kind of shocked. Definitely type in his name on Google, and you'll see that in his Wikipedia, his Wikipedia section, it says he is the defensive coordinator, which is kind of weird, just a little bit, you know what I mean? So we'll watch out for some news on Glenn Schumann in the future, but highly doubt it. Hasn't even had an interview yet, unless it's a secret behind-the-scenes interview we don't know about that we'll find out about later. The third thing I want to talk about is definitely Derek Barnett. Now, this one is very interesting because I've looked at his contract. Unless this is wrong, these numbers could be wrong. I mean, usually I go on overthecap.com, and usually they are right about everything. But if I'm wrong, definitely let me know in the comment section below. Derek Barnett signed like a 2-year deal worth like $14 million. I think he gets like $7 million guaranteed. Okay, so this is the last year of Derek Barnett on his contract, okay? Now, I looked at his numbers. His 2022, the season we just played, okay, his cap number was only 2.6, which wasn't bad, but he didn't play anything. Okay, this year in 23, his cap number is 3.1, which is still very cheap. But the problem is, I don't think you could cut him pre-June, post-June. I don't think you could trade him pre-June, post-June, because really, you cut him pre-June, it's 10.6 in dead money, $7 million cap savings. That's horrible. You cut him post-June, 3.4 in dead money, $361,000 in cap savings. Not great. You trade him pre-June, 9.1 dead money, $6 million cap savings. You trade him post-June, 1.9 in dead money, 1.1 in cap savings. So there's really nothing they could do with this contract right now. I honestly, when I went into this, I was like, this contract, I don't know why they buried themselves with this They didn't really bury themselves because theoretically he is cheap going to next year. But are the Eagles just going to keep Derek Barnett next year just because they just need a body? Really? Because what has Derek Barnett's been a 1-year wonder. That's it. 18 he played okay, but he's been a 1-year wonder. Theoretically, he's only done well for 1 year and stayed healthy. And like, can I trust this guy on the field and not being stupid and getting unnecessary penalties? Since 2 years ago, or what was it, last year, he led the whole league in penalties. He had more penalties than sacks. That's how bad it was. And I'm not a big fan of it. I'm just not. I don't even care if that's losing Barnett plus Sue plus Linval plus Cox plus Hargrave plus Graham. That's 6 guys. I wouldn't even care if they cut him too. I wouldn't even care if he was the last defensive lineman as the closest thing that we have to a veteran on this defensive line. If everybody leaves and Barnett stays, I would still cut him. I wouldn't even care because I totally forgot most of this season we were on the field, we were playing games, and we were getting our wins. I always forgot that Derek Barnett was still on this roster because he didn't. I don't know how many snaps. I don't know if he even played a snap. I don't even remember because it was so long ago. Because I've forgotten Derek Barnett and what he's done. You know what I mean? Appreciate what he did in his rookie year, definitely 100%. But we have to be realistic, guys. This is a year-to-year league, and he's not getting better on or off the field or in game with these stupid penalties and pushing people excessively and just what he's got. I mean, even Nick is probably fed up with him at this point. So if the Eagles decide to keep Derek Barnett, it's purely going to be because they just need a body. I mean, they purely are going to be in panic mode to be like, all right, we got to keep Barnett. We just got to, he's got to keep his head straight. Like, that's all I'm asking. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, like, that his contract is voided next year, and after this year they can literally get rid of him, and I don't think it'll cost a thing to get rid of him going into the 25 season. I mean the 24 season. You know what I mean? So the dead money from just even cutting him. If he plays this year and you cut him by 24, okay, it's really not that bad. It's like 1.9 in dead money, and you don't say, like, that's it. 1.9 in dead money is nothing. It's cheap. It's nothing. They will get over that easily. Trust me. If they get rid of trade Carson Wentz, and they were eating up that $33 million, whatever it was that they ate up, which was the highest cap number that the Eagles ate up, which helped them make more moves. Like, they decide, let's just get rid of it. Let's rip the Band-Aid off. Take over this dead money. Do what we got to do our due diligence towards this move, which hurt us at the end, and try to make more moves to make this roster better. And I think this is like that type of situation. Obviously, he's not as expensive as Carson Wentz was when he was here, but I just don't feel comfortable having Barnett on this D-line because I feel like he brings bad vibes. He cares about himself more than the team, because when you get penalties nonstop, you're being selfish at the end of the day, and I don't like that at all. I really don't. So, I don't know what you guys think about Derek Barnett, but, yeah, not into it at all. I don't even care if we lose 6 defensive linemen. He's one of them. And he's the last one standing on a 1-year deal for this year. I'm just not into it. I have no interest in bringing Derek Barnett back. I don't. Because you got to figure this out going forward, okay? You really got to figure all of this out. And when it comes down to it, with Derek Barnett, you're going to lose some guys. And I don't know what they're going to do here. Like, they have to re-sign somebody. Like, they have to re-sign. So I don't know what they're going to do with Graham. I don't know what they're going to do with Hargrave is the one I'm kind of looking at right now and saying to myself, okay, they need to do something with him. I think that's going to be really important going forward. So when you look at that position, that's just what happens with that. That's just what it is. So let me know what you guys think about Derek Barnett. Okay, and then like there's some other news that came out. Some Eagles fans were talking about this, and it's on Byron Jones, another guy that that he was a Cowboy, left, went to the Dolphins. I think he only had 4 career. I think he only has like 4 career interceptions. I mean, I don't know how he played, what he did. I don't know how well he really played, just because I really haven't been watching Miami that much. Really, since Tua went down, I really stopped watching Miami as much at the time. So with Byron Jones, he's available in free agency, which he's probably going to get a prove-it deal. Most likely. I don't think he's going to get top money. It is what it is. Someone has to take over the last year. I think the last year of his contract, if I'm not mistaken. So we haven't got through getting our coordinators yet. We don't even know who we're re-signing. We don't even know when Jalen Hurts is going to get signed. Like, we don't even know what's going on right now. Okay, going to a free agent market with corners, I'm just not interested at all. I'm really not, because when you look at it at the end of the day, like, if you lose Bradbury, you keep Slay here for another year. I mean, you go into the draft. I mean, there's like 6, 7 corners that are so good. Kelly Ringo, Garrett Williams, Tavius Hodgkins, Tomlinson. I mean, it's just crazy right now. Deontay Banks. I mean, it's just absolutely insane with the cornerbacks that I've been reading about, and how great they are, and a lot of these guys are going to be able to start first day. So the Eagles got to take advantage of that. The only problem I have is, like, you're losing your players on the defensive line. You're losing cornerback. You don't have depth behind these starting cornerbacks. I don't trust Avonte Maddox staying healthy. Slay is getting old, and Bradbury's probably going to walk and get more money elsewhere. So if Bradbury does walk and your defensive line, you lose 5 defensive linemen in 1 year. Even if they sign Hargrave, it's still not enough. I still think they need an edge rusher. So do I think the Eagles are going to draft 2 guys in the first round? I don't think it's going to happen. I honestly don't think so. I feel like at 10th overall, there's no doubt they'll get somebody. They'll fill that spot easily. But when it comes down to our own pick, which is the last pick of the first round, I don't know what they're going to do. I really don't know if I think they're going to trade back and get more picks for this draft. I think they want to get more picks into the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, because Howie Roseman likes to use those day 3 picks to move up, and that's what he could do, So there's a lot of there's just so much going on right now, and you just can't even tell what's happening. But like I said, everyone was raving about Byron Jones, and they're like, oh, we have to get him. Let's go get him. I'm like, no, dude, like I'm not picking up a guy like this. I'm not doing it. I want to finally draft a cornerback in the first round if they could do it. But like I said, I would love to draft a corner in the first round. The problem I have right now is this defensive line is going to be so depleted. And I'm just saying, by that time, we might not even be talking about how depleted it is. It might not be. We might have a lot of guys in that defensive line going into next year. Because if you think you can make another run, re-sign your guys. You know what I mean? Restructure and re-sign. Do whatever you got to do. Obviously, not try to put your, that's the sacrifice you're gonna have to make as a GM, and then you're gonna have to figure out, man, well, it might put us in a hole the next couple years because you restructure a bunch of contracts, more guaranteed money up front for these players, and bigger cap hits down the road. You're just kicking the can down the road. And I don't want this to be another 4 to 5 years of kicking the can down the road and just restructuring players for past performance. This is a year-to-year league. And after that 2017 Super Bowl, that's what they did. They couldn't draft, and it finally caught up to us. It caught up to us in 2020. It caught up to us a few years later. 18, we were very successful. 19, Carson Wentz had, the last month we won the NFC East, and Carson Wentz put the team on his back at the end of the 2019 season. And then 2020, it all caught up to us. Our bad draft picks, restructuring being, and then starting to not get younger and having, a lot of old players that are still restructuring, which all of these players are happy to do it, but because it gives them more money up front, like right now, but the cap hits that we took, and then going into 21, it was like $73 million over the cap, which was just I understand that might be normal for some teams. I mean, we weren't even the worst team that year that was over the cap $73 million. I think the Saints were over $90 million in cap, which is kind of nuts. You don't want to get into that situation again, so you have to draft well. If you draft well, you're not going to spend a lot of money in the offseason. You really won't. You know what I mean? Because once you start paying Jalen Hurts, they gotta start drafting really well, even better than before. Okay, and that's what it's gonna happen. But there's always loopholes around the system of paying quarterbacks, because when you're paying a quarterback, you could do like a 10-year deal and then really bounce money and spread that money out for a while, where it doesn't affect the Eagles that much and really lowers that cap number a lot more. So there's a lot of different things that they could do with a contract like that when it comes to the rest of the roster if you're signing a quarterback to big money. But it comes down to it, guys, like, I don't know what they do in the first, the first round of the draft with 2 first-round picks. I honestly don't think they're going to use 2 first-rounders to get players. I just don't see it happening. As much as it's easy to say, I just don't see it happening. But everyone was raving about Byron Jones being a free agent. I think when he became a free agent from the Cowboys, Eagles had a lot of interest, but the Eagles were not interested in the price it was going to take. And secondly, I don't think he was interested in even coming to the Eagles at all. Obviously, these players want to go to, they want to go to Florida. They want to go to Tampa Bay. They want to go. They want to go to Miami because they don't have to pay a tax over there. They're tax free when it comes to their pay. And that's a big reason why a lot of players go to those teams. But like I said, I don't know what they're doing here, and I think we're at a broken bridge right now. We don't know how to put it together because certain moves have not happened to help this whole thing come together yet. So like there could be more players getting restructures, more players getting extended with saving cap. So there's a lot going on. So I can't even really talk about the draft because until we get until we get our coaches, we re-sign players, we get through free agency, and then you kind of start to see okay, what do the Eagles really need going into the 2023 season? What do they need going into the draft? I mean, so there's a lot of things to talk about, a lot of things to really, we're just picking each other's brains right now to see what are the Eagles thinking, what are they going to do. But like I said, you have big needs at defensive line, and I'm not saying you have to replace Sue and Linval, but if Jordan Davis doesn't pan out, or if they let Graham go and Cox go, I mean, if they let do you have guys to replace them with. Like, are you going to pay somebody or are you going to go into this draft? I have no idea what they're doing. You know what I mean? It's a lot of guys. You're losing technically, theoretically, without re-signings, and we're not thinking about who's going to get re-signed, you're losing 5 defensive linemen, and you have no depth behind cornerback right now. Nobody's proven with Zech McPherson. Nothing's proven with Josh Jobe. Nothing's proven with Mario Goodrich. Nobody's really proven yet. They're special teams guys that have made some plays, and that's it. You know, like, Slay's getting old. Bradbury's probably going to walk, and Maddox, I just don't trust his health status, and he's got one more year left, which is kind of crazy right now. He's got one more year, and that's it. He's a free agent, so that's what I don't get. I think I'm right about. I think Maddox has one more year. I could be wrong. I don't know if they gave him a new contract. I haven't looked at the contracts in so long. I don't even remember. So correct me if I'm wrong. But you know, then if you lose Maddox, you know what I mean. Next couple of years, you know, you got to start drafting young corners. Like, I think that's one of the most important positions we need because we always go back to square one with this cornerback position. I appreciate what Slay has done. I appreciate the very aggressive move for James Bradbury, which was a very aggressive one. But Bradbury's young. He's relatively young, but Slay's getting old. Can he still play in the next couple of years? Probably, but I don't want to sit here, take advantage of it, not draft a guy and rely on these guys. You know, God forbid somebody gets injured. God forbid anything. You know, you always want to have depth. I understand you can't get depth at every position for it to be perfect. But cornerback, you have got to. We dealt with Josiah Scott for how many games? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I am not into free agent cornerbacks. I don't care if they're mega deals, prove it deals, 1 year for $1 million. I don't care what it is. I am not interested in free agent cornerbacks. I don't care how much they cost. Okay? I don't think the Eagles are going to have some explosive offseason they had like they did last year. But, you know, you never know because Howie Roseman is just what he does with these trades is kind of crazy. So you never know what they could get. So There's a lot to dive into with it, lot. So, like I said, it's going to come down to what's the biggest position of need from free agency and to the draft, or not even free agency, but just you got to re-sign somebody on that defensive line. Because if you're going to rely on Derek Barnett to do everything on the edge, you're gonna have a weak edge. You're gonna have a weak edge. I know Josh Sweat's still on the roster; he's great, but the depth is not going to be good. Depth's not going to be good at both positions if you lose some of these guys, and that's, you know, what it is. I mean, Jordan Davis went down. We signed Sue and Linval, and Jordan Davis came back, so we had an extra, few guys, which was great. I think it made us a lot better. There's no doubt. We got a lot better against the run when those two came into play for the Colts game. So, like I said, it's too early because nothing has really happened yet. I can't even say. I can give my opinion, but that is close as I can get to this situation with the Eagles and what they're doing between free agency, the draft, who they're re-signing, Hurts' contract. There's so much that factors into what the Eagles can do this year. So it's going to be interesting what happens. You guys let me know in the comment section below. Do you think the bigger need will be cornerback or defensive line? And do you think Derek Barnett should still be here? So that's the question I have for you guys. So we'll see. Hope you guys enjoyed. I promised this wasn't going to be a long video, but it ended up being. So if you survived this long, make sure you hit the subscribe. Make sure you like the video as well. The support's been unreal. I thank you, everybody, so much for all the, obviously, last season and the support from all of that. And obviously going to this offseason now, it's very exciting. This is my bread and butter of the, of the year is doing the offseason stuff because I talk about almost anything. So Eagles news every day. You know how it is. All right, guys. You guys have a fantastic day. I'll see you guys on the next one. SHAKESQUAD up. Follow slide. Peace out, guys. Peace.